God, is that really your car? 12-year-old Ashley Morrison's voice dripped with mockery as she stared at the beat-up 1998 Honda Civic, pulling into the pickup line at Riverside Prep Academy. The car was faded green, had a dent in the rear bumper, and made a concerning rattling sound as it pulled to a stop. Her friend Madison giggled. "Who drives that piece of junk?" The driver's door opened, and a man in his late 30s stepped out, wearing jeans and a plain gray t-shirt. He had messy hair and looked like he hadn't shaved in a few days. He waved to a girl standing near the entrance, around Ashley's age. "Emily, ready to go?" Emily Chen grabbed her backpack and hurried toward the car, her face flushed with embarrassment. She'd been hoping her father would park on the street, out of sight of her classmates. "Dad, I told you to wait down the block," she hissed as she approached. "Sorry, sweetheart. Traffic was bad. I wanted to make sure I wasn't late." Ashley couldn't resist. She walked over with Madison, both girls wearing their designer clothes and carrying their luxury handbags. "Emily, is this your dad? I thought you said he had a good job." Emily's jaw tightened. "He does have a good job." "Really?" "Because that car looks like it came from a junkyard." Ashley pulled out her phone and took a photo. "This is definitely going on my story." The man, whose name was Marcus Chen, looked at Ashley calmly. "It's a reliable car. Gets me where I need to go." "Barely, from the sound of it." Madison laughed. "My dad's car cost more than you probably make in a year." "Madison!" Emily snapped. "That's really rude." "What?" "I'm just saying. My dad drives a Range Rover. Ashley's dad has a Porsche. And your dad drives that." She gestured dismissively at the Honda. Marcus opened the passenger door for Emily. "Come on, Em. We need to get going." But Ashley wasn't finished. "What do you even do for work? Are you like a janitor or something?" Marcus's expression didn't change. "I work in technology." "Oh, so you fix computers? That's cute." Ashley exchanged a smirk with Madison. "My dad actually creates technology. He's a venture capitalist. He invests in real companies." "That's nice for him," Marcus said evenly. "Emily, let's go." As they pulled away, Ashley could hear the Honda's engine struggling. She posted the photo immediately with the caption, "When your dad can't afford a real car, poverty embarrassing." Within minutes, her friends were commenting and sharing. Emily would see it eventually, and Ashley couldn't wait to watch her squirm. What Ashley didn't know was that Marcus Chen wasn't just any technology work. He was the founder and CEO of Chen Dynamics, a revolutionary electric vehicle company that had recently been valued at $42 billion. His broke appearance was deliberate. He'd built his entire fortune on the principle that innovation mattered more than image, that substance trumped style. And that beat-up Honda? He kept it as a reminder of where he'd come from, of the days when he'd slept in that very car while building his first prototype in his friend's garage. The car had sentimental value that no Porsche could ever match. But more importantly, Marcus Chen was about to teach Ashley Morrison a lesson she'd never forget. That evening, Emily was in tears in her room. "Dad, everyone's seen it. Everyone's laughing. They think you're poor, and that we're, I don't know, beneath them or something." Marcus sat on her bed, his heart breaking for his daughter. "Em, you know that car doesn't define our worth, right? You know what we've built?" "I know, but they don't. And you won't let me tell them because you want to stay humble and not flash wealth around." "But Dad, I'm tired of being the only one at school who doesn't have expensive stuff. We've talked about this. I don't want you growing up thinking your value comes from what you own. I want you to be valued for who you are. Well, right now, I'm valued as the girl with the broke dad who drives a junker." She showed him her phone, where Ashley's post had over 200 likes and dozens of mocking comments. Marcus looked at the post for a long moment. Then he smiled in a way that Emily recognized. It was his problem-solving smile, the one he wore when he was about to do something unexpected. "What if," he said slowly, "we let them learn the truth? But not by telling them, by showing them." "What do you mean?" "Tomorrow is career day at your school, right? Where parents come talk about their jobs." Emily nodded slowly. "Yeah, but you said you weren't coming because you didn't want to make a big deal." "I changed my mind. I think it's time some of your classmates learned an important lesson about assumptions." The next day, Ashley arrived at school buzzing with excitement. Her father, Richard Morrison, was coming to speak about venture capital and investing. He'd promised to impress all her friends with stories about making millions. "Is your dad still coming?" Ashley asked Emily with false sympathy. "What's he going to talk about? How to change oil?" Emily just smiled mysteriously. "He'll be here. The career day presentations were held in the school auditorium. Richard Morrison went first, talking about his investments, showing slides of successful companies he'd backed. Ashley beamed with pride as her classmates looked impressed. Then, it was Marcus Chen's turn. He walked on, stage in the same jeans and gray t-shirt from the day before, looking completely out of place among the parade of parents in business suits. Ashley whispered to Madison, "This is going to be hilarious. What's he going to talk about? Minimum wage jobs?" The principal introduced him. "Our next speaker is Marcus Chen, Emily Chen's father. Mr. Chen works in technology. Please welcome him." Polite, scattered applause. Marcus plugged in his laptop and the first slide appeared. It was a photo of that same beat-up Honda Civic. Ashley burst out laughing. "Oh my God, he's actually showing everyone his broke car." But then Marcus spoke. "This car is a 1998 Honda Civic. I bought it in 2008 for $800. At that time I was homeless, sleeping in this car, and working 3 jobs while trying to build something I believed in." The auditorium went quiet. This wasn't the story anyone had expected. "I was obsessed with electric vehicles. I believed they could change the world, so I taught myself engineering, bought used parts from junkyards, and built my first electric car prototype in my friend's garage. People told me I was crazy, that electric cars would never work, that I should get a real job." The next slide showed a crude, boxy electric car that looked nothing like the sleek vehicles on the road today. "This was my first prototype, built entirely in that car's trunk and assembled in a 1-car garage. It could go 40 miles on a single charge and topped out at 35 miles per hour. It was terrible. A few kids laughed, but it was different now. Interested, not mocking. But it worked, and I kept improving it. I slept in my Honda, showered at the gym, and spent every penny I had on parts and development. For 3 years that car was my home, my office, and my reminder of why I was working so hard." Ashley had stopped laughing. Something was changing in the atmosphere of the auditorium. "In 2011, I finally had a prototype good enough to show investors. Most of them laughed me out of their offices. But one person believed in me. One person saw past my appearance, past my beat-up car, past my lack of fancy credentials. That person invested $200,000 in my company." He clicked to the next slide. It showed a sleek, modern electric car that every kid in the audience recognized. "Today, my company is called Chen Dynamics. We're now the 3rd largest electric vehicle manufacturer in the world. We employ over 30,000 people. Last year, we sold over 500,000 vehicles, and our company is valued at $42 billion. The auditorium erupted. Kids were pulling out their phones, searching for Chen Dynamics, their eyes widening as they found article after article about Marcus Chen, billionaire tech CEO and automotive visionary. Ashley's face had gone pale. She looked at Emily, who was smiling calmly. Marcus continued, "But I still drive that 1998 Honda Civic. Not because I can't afford something better. I own several vehicles, including some of our latest models. But that Honda reminds me of where I came from. It reminds me that a person's worth isn't determined by what they drive or what they wear. It's determined by what they build, what they contribute, how they treat others." He looked directly at Ashley. The entire school seemed to follow his gaze. "Yesterday, a student at this school took a photo of my car and posted it online. She mocked it, mocked me, and by extension mocked my daughter. She assumed that because my car was old, I must be poor. That because I dress simply, I must be unsuccessful. She judged an entire person based on superficial appearances." Ashley wanted to disappear. Every student in the auditorium was looking at her now. Several had their phones out recording. That student has a lot to learn about the world. Real success isn't about showing off wealth. It's about creating value. Real intelligence isn't about mocking others. It's about being curious enough to learn their stories. Real class isn't about what you own. It's about how you treat people regardless of what they own." He clicked to his final slide. It showed the same Honda Civic, but now parked in front of Chen Dynamics' massive headquarters, with the caption, "Never judge a book by its cover." I hope everyone here, especially those who found my car so amusing yesterday, learns this lesson. The most successful people often don't look the part. They're too busy actually succeeding to worry about appearances. Thank you. The applause was thunderous. Students stood up, cheering. The principal looked stunned, clearly not having expected one of the world's most successful tech CEOs to be speaking at their small school's career day. Ashley sat frozen in her seat, her face burning with humiliation. Around her, students were whispering, checking their phones, finding her post from yesterday, and comparing it to the news articles about Marcus Chen's $42 billion empire. "Oh my God," Madison whispered. "Ashley, do you know what you did? You mocked a literal billionaire. This is everywhere." Indeed, someone had already posted the Career Day presentation online, and it was going viral. Comments flooded in. "Imagine being so entitled you mock a billionaire for driving a humble car," and "This is why we need to teach kids not to judge by appearances," and "That girl is about to learn the hardest lesson of her life." After the presentations ended, Emily approached Ashley in the hallway. Ashley expected anger, gloating. Instead, Emily just looked sad. "You could have just asked, instead of assuming and posting mean things." "Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know your dad was—" "Would it have mattered if he wasn't? If he really was just a regular person doing his best? Would that have made it okay to mock him?" Ashley opened her mouth but couldn't find an answer. Emily continued. "My dad taught me that how you treat people when you think they can't do anything. For you says everything about your character. You treated him and me like garbage because you thought we were beneath you. That's what's really embarrassing here." She walked away, leaving Ashley standing in the hallway, surrounded by classmates who now saw her completely differently. That afternoon, Ashley's parents received a call from the principal. The viral video had brought unwanted attention to the school. Other parents were calling, concerned about bullying culture. The school board wanted a meeting. Richard Morrison, venture capitalist and Ashley's father, was furious when he learned the full story. "Do you have any idea what you've done? Marcus Chen is one of the most respected entrepreneurs in the country. I've been trying to get a meeting with Chen Dynamics for 2 years. I didn't know. That's not the point. The point is, you were cruel to another human being for no reason other than you thought you could. That you judged him based on what car he drove. Do you know how many brilliant people I've met who drive old cars? Who dress simply? Who don't flash their wealth?" He showed her his phone. "This is everywhere. People are calling you the poster child for entitled youth. They're using this as an example of everything wrong with how we're raising kids today." Ashley started crying. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to become this big. But you meant to be cruel. You meant to embarrass Emily and her father. The fact that it backfired doesn't change your intention." Over the next week, Ashley became infamous. The story was picked up by major news outlets. Parenting blogs used her as an example. Business websites wrote think pieces about Marcus Chen's humility and how true success didn't require showboating. Her social media became so toxic that her parents made her delete all her accounts. Friends stopped talking to her. She went from popular to pariah overnight. 2 weeks after the incident, Ashley received an unexpected letter. It was from Marcus Chen. "Ashley, I'm sure the past 2 weeks have been difficult for you. That wasn't my intention when I spoke at Career Day. I simply wanted to teach an important lesson about judgment and assumptions. But I've been where you are now. I've made mistakes. I've learned hard lessons. The question isn't whether we fail or mess up. The question is what we do afterward. Do we learn? Do we grow? Do we become better people? I hope you'll choose growth. If you'd like to talk, my door is open. Sincerely, Marcus Chen." Ashley's mother encouraged her to take him up on the offer. A week later, Ashley found herself sitting in a modest conference room at Chen Dynamics headquarters, face to face with the man she'd mocked. "Thank you for seeing me," she said quietly. "I don't deserve it." Marcus smiled gently. "Everyone deserves a second chance. The question is, what you do with it. I'm so sorry for what I said, for what I posted, for how I treated Emily and you. There's no excuse." "You're right. There isn't. But there is an explanation. You were raised in an environment that valued appearances over substance. That's not entirely your fault. But recognizing it is the first step to changing it." Over the next hour, Marcus told Ashley his full story. The struggles, the failures, the nights sleeping in that Honda wondering if he'd made a terrible mistake. The breakthrough moments, the successes, and most importantly, the values he'd held onto throughout. "I keep that car because I never want to become the kind of person who judges others by what they drive. I never want to forget that some of the most brilliant people I've met looked nothing like what society says success should look like." He showed her around the facility, introducing her to engineers and designers, many of whom had unconventional backgrounds and drove modest cars. "See that woman there? She's our chief engineer. Drives a 15-year-old Subaru. Also has a PhD from MIT and holds 37 patents. That guy? Lead designer. Rides a bike to work. His designs have won international awards. Success looks different than you think." Ashley absorbed it all, understanding finally how narrow and shallow her worldview had been. "What can I do to make this right?" she asked. "You can't undo what happened, but you can choose who you become next. You can learn from this. You can treat people with dignity regardless of their circumstances. You can be curious instead of judgmental. You can be kind instead of cruel." Ashley nodded, tears in her eyes. "I want to be better. I want to be the kind of person who wouldn't have made those assumptions. Then be that person. Starting now." 6 months later, Ashley had transformed. She'd started volunteering at a homeless shelter, learning the stories of people living in their cars just like Marcus once had. She joined a school program that paired privileged students with kids from lower-income areas, building friendships across economic divides. And when she gave her own presentation at Career Day the following year, she talked about her mistake, what she'd learned, and how Marcus Chen's grace in the face of her cruelty had changed her entire perspective. "I thought I knew what success looked like," she told the auditorium. "Fancy cars, expensive clothes, showing off wealth. But I learned that real success is about what you build, not what you buy. About who you help, not who you impress. About your character, not your car." In the audience, Emily Chen smiled. She and Ashley had become friends, bonding over shared experiences and a mutual desire to be better than their worst moments. And in the parking lot, next to several luxury vehicles, sat a beat-up 1998 Honda Civic, a reminder that the greatest achievements often come from the humblest beginnings.